We hope you are enjoying your time at the Gold Saucer, madam. I am Moliere, and these are my fellow attendants. Forgive my presumption, but you appear to be one of the one that craves amusements, and we have an opportunity that is sure to sate your appetite. Fair warning, I do not know my Eorzean. I will probably mispronounce lots of names. You see, we are devising a number of new attractions which promise to entice even more patrons to our establishment, and we would offer you the chance to partake in these delights before anyone else in Eorzea. We only ask in return that you provide an earnest judgment of our offerings, so we might use that to refine the final product. A fair trade, I believe. So do we have an agreement, madam? Sure. Splendid. Lord Mandeville shall know of your contribution. Now if you just follow. Oh dear. A scream. It came from above. Quickly, we must help. Mistress Flurry, what happened? No, it can't be. Please, no. It happened in a flash, it did. They were enjoying their meal together, happy as ever, when without wording, Master Gonquad keels over as if a chocobo just bucked him in the belly. Now, I'm no Churrigan, but I don't reckon he'll be getting back up. You don't mean... He's dead. Alia, what is the meaning of this? You know we do not abide drunkards dozing on the floor. I demand an explanation. Master Roland. Why, yes, of course. We have only just arrived, but it appears Gonquard collapsed suddenly during his meal. Given his current state, I can't imagine overindulgence was the cause. No, such a sudden passing points to something more sinister. Master Roland, I believe this was no natural death. I believe Gonquard was poisoned. Poisoned? By the 12! Murder is in our midst. We must act swiftly. I want the perpetrator in shackles. And who better to assist us than Mistress Heimelin? Lord Mandeville has no shortage of praise for your heroism and your deftness at deduction. What say you, friend? Will you aid us in bringing in a criminal to justice? I'd like to see if I can get the real answer. Excellent. Alia, you have my leave to put your current duties on hold. I grant both of you the title of interim inspector, and you shall have my full support in your inquiry. We shall not disappoint. Now, Mistress Heimelin, let us step back and take stock of the situation. Assuming Gonquard was poisoned, I gather there are only 3 people who had the opportunity, if not the motive, to do so discreetly. Daphna, who served Gonquard his food. Lyle, who prepared his libations. And lastly, while I shudder to entertain such a possibility, we must also consider Gonquard's wife suspect, as I can only assume she was close to him throughout the meal. Considering the gravity of the crime, we must avoid making any hasty accusations before we have a clear understanding of what transpired here. To that end, our first course of action should be to question each of the suspects. Mistress Heimelin, I entrust the task to you. And for my part, I shall summon the brass blades forthwith. I trust the culprit will be unmasked and ready to be apprehended upon my return. You can't think I'm a murderer, you can't! I just carried the food and drink is all. I didn't even touch it. You suspect me of poisoning Master Gonquard? Preposterous. I would never commit such an atrocious act, let alone against one of my most loyal customers. I won't stand for such baseless accusations. Husband's body is still warm, and you accuse me of his murder. I have no words. I must admit that wasn't as helpful as I'd hoped for, and I fear pressing our suspects further would only earn us their ire. I need not lose heart, however, as there are other avenues available to us. No crime is perfect, and even the most meticulous criminal leaves behind some traces of evidence. I am confident that if we search every corner of the Gold Saucer and question every person within, the answer to this mystery will come together in due time. Of course, our suspect cannot be left alone. I shall remain here and ask that you make a thorough search of the Gold Saucer. If you uncover aught you wish to discuss, return here and I will lend what aid I can. Alright. We are not being told what to look into here, so we're kind of left on our own to do this. Now we're gonna just use some proper investigation music and get going, right? The plates off now serve Gonquart. The pungent odor of bitter spirits is almost overpowering. You inquire. Oops, sorry. I saw Gonquart around the cockpit board, quite often enough to call him a comrade in arms against chance. Luck seemed to always favor him, though, building his concourse, going purse while leaving mine lighter by the day. But I suppose everyone's fortune reverses in time, eh? You inquire about the late Gonquart and the circumstances surrounding his demise. Gonquart loved his drink, especially when his wife weren't with him. Had a bit of trouble keeping his hands off the surface while in his cups. And having Xafna around just made it worse. Girl didn't seem to mind, though I suppose the extra coin he paid didn't hurt. I imagine his wife would have given him an earful if he ever found out. There should be 8 pieces of clue. I feel like I hit them the last time I did this, so I don't know. If you ask me, Lyle's the last person I suspect of murder. Someone so serious wouldn't be so rash. Can't say the same for Xafna, though. Not that I think she has it in her to kill someone, of course. She just hasn't been at the saucer long enough for me to get to know her. That's 4 now? Okay, I am missing 2 pieces of evidence from the looks of things. No, I'm missing 1. Since I did this last time. I saw the whole sorry affair from a nearby table. Nearly choked on my own food at the sight, I did. But I acted quickly. I knew at once that foul play was afoot, so I stole away with the glass from which Gonquart took his last fateful sip. Now, I was only acting in your best interests. What if this was lost, or worse? I'm familiar enough with mysteries to know an inspector must always keep one step ahead of her quarry. Here, take the glass. I have an inkling you might need it. Sweet odor lingers around it. Thankfully, the crumpled figure before you is not another victim, but merely a discarded senior subaltender costume. A sickly sweet fragrance hangs in the air, and the scene makes you uneasy, as if you have caught a glimpse of something no one was meant to see. I did find all the clues then. He was poisoned. By the gods, Gonquart and his wife were in such high spirits when I passed by the Mandeville lounge earlier. To see them laughing cheerfully at the antics of that senior subaltender, I would have never imagined such a tragic turn of events. Master Gonquart came here most days, sometimes alone, sometimes with Miss Flore. They seemed like such a happy pair. Just heartbreaking that we will not see them walking cheerfully through the saucer any longer. Alright. Oops, I actually don't know where I'm supposed to go right now. Aha, here we go. Should be everything. A piece of crumpled parchment lies conspicuously on the floor. Upon closer inspection, you see a message written in precise handwriting. To the king, you know that you must needs you know what must needs be done. Succeed and you shall be rewarded. Handsomely, from the Rook. Alright. That should be everything now. So I was missing a piece of clue last time. Huh? Tucked away next to the pillars, a small phial, drained of its contents. However, a sweet scent still lingers within. Your search has yielded all the pieces of the puzzle. It's now up to you to put them together. Let's do it. First we'll talk over all the evidence, and then we'll actually get into the whole thing. A crumpled scrap of parchment, upon which the following words were writ. To the king, you know what must needs be done. Succeed and you shall be rewarded handsomely. From the Rook. Huh. Ominous titles, for an ominous letter. Who could these two characters be? The empty phial. Ah yes, an empty phial found discarded on the staircase. You say you could detect a sweet aroma from within it, yes? Huh. What could it have possibly contained? A plate Zafna served the couple was ranked with the bitter smell of strong spirits. Perhaps Gonkard was particular to such libations. Still, even our strongest drink would not cause so sudden a death as his. Ah, Northern Storm. The rogue had been eyeing these proceedings so intently. His gaze makes me slightly uneasy, but he did shed some light on Gonkard's time alone at the Gold Saucer. It would seem our victim had a habit of imbibing, particularly when his wife was absent, which led to wandering hands and a loose tongue, especially when Zafna was around. I cannot help but wonder what Mistress Fleury thought of all this, or if she even knew. Ah, wait, I already read that. That Lullafell seems to have taken a keen interest in how this affair will play out. Nonetheless, he provided us with valuable insight into our victim's favorite pastime. Kokomue and Gonkard share the love of the crackpot board, though fortune often favored the latter, leaving him with the access of MGP. In a place like the Gold Saucer, it is plain how such luck could incite envy, or worse. Dorso happened to pass by the Mandeville Lounge just before Gonkard was killed. He was among the last few to see our victim alive and well. Spied one of our very own Senior Sabotendas entertaining the couple with its whimsical poses. Not an unusual sight in the Gold Saucer, to be sure, but I'm certain not many expect it to be followed by tragedy. Abelina has long been greeting the Gold Saucer's patrons, and as such is privy to their comings and goings. Gonkard was no exception. He would often be accompanied by Fleury, as one would expect. The more surprising, however, is the revelation that he would sometimes come on his own. One cannot help but wonder what activities our poor Gonkard indulged in when his wife was not present. Statements. Hitchcock's story itself did not give us much of a value, but speaking to him proved worthwhile nonetheless. He was dining next to an ill-fated couple when tragedy struck, and whether it be by foresight, as he claims, or some morbid impulse, he snatched up the glass from which Gonkard took his last sip. Of course, it would have been preferable to find the evidence undisturbed, but I suppose we should be grateful to come into possession of it all. At all. I detect a sweet aroma. It seems so familiar, but for the life of me I cannot recall why. Valida spends her days behind the crackpot board counter and is well acquainted with most of the Gold Saucer's staff. She seems certain of Lyle's innocence, but admitted to knowing too little about Zafna to speak on her character. Huh. I appreciate her honesty. It would be a shame if an uninformed judgment led us to accusing the wrong person. Ah, the secret of the Saucer's Sabotender has come out at last. Who could be so careless as to leave the costume out in the open? Nonetheless, it may prove to be a vital piece of this puzzle. The sweet odor you say hung in the air is most unusual. If we could but ascertain its origin. Alright, that's everything. So I guess at this point, we shall go ahead and just start the case itself. The trial, I guess? The killer is among us, and I know who it is. Such confidence! Nevertheless, this is a grievous crime with a grievous punishment. So the burden is on us, the inspectors, to explain our reasoning before making accusations. And so, Mr. Simon, I ask that you walk us through how you came to your conclusion. Alright, the conclusion will differ depending on the choices you make in the following sequences. However, the words will remain the same. I'm ready to explain my reasoning. This is more of logic reason. This is more like joint reasoning than it is actual trial, but you know. Let's do it. Very well. Then we should start by answering the most elementary question. How was Gonquart poisoned? The poison was mixed in his drink. So it was the drink that killed him. Of course, an astute judgment. But why not the food? How can you be certain Gonquart's beverage was poisoned? Because that's how I poison someone. You only need to smell his glass. The sickly sweet scent is unmistakable. It's poison. The odor, of course. So sweet as to be unnatural and not befitting. Gonquart's taste besides. There's no doubt I am all but certain the drink was poison. Now we must ascertain when. There were numerous opportunities for our suspect to administer the fatal concoctions. Mistress Heimwin, pray tell us when you think this occurred. That's a good question. This one I got stumped at a little bit, so give me a second to try to figure out which one. I think the first choice I picked last time was already on the table, but I couldn't continue on it, but I really think that's what it is. Such brazeness! The killer could have peered straight into Gonquart's eyes. It was no simple task. Several people were there and claimed to have seen nothing. How could our perpetrator possibly have accomplished such a feat? Ah! This option was not here for me. The poison was contained in a small sealed vial. That was not there for me before. So I was missing stuff. Excellent. Yes, the vial! Small enough to hide on oneself, and a murderer would only need a moment to apply the poison. Huh. Our criminal was meticulous indeed, but not meticulous enough it would seem. Well, I believe this mystery is all but solved. Mistress Heimwin, I would give you the honor of revealing the identity of our culprit. I wait with bated breath. Okay, I think I can actually pick the fourth option this time, which is the Senior Sabotender. It was none of you. Senior Sabotender, I must say, this is quite the unexpected development. Pray forgive my doubt, but I must ask, why? Because inside the Sabotender was the true killer. Oh! It was Kokomue! Ah. I had a feeling it had to be a Lalafell. I mean, what else could fit in there? Kokomue? In the Senior Sabotender? So that's the way your mind works, is it? Let's accuse the nearest Lalafell of murder, on account of his size of the Sabotender? You'll need to do better than that. Why in the hells would I kill Gonquart? I barely knew the man. But... your gambling habits? Well, you've got me there. It's true my coin purse doesn't jingle much these days, but tell me, Inspector, how would murder improve my situation, eh? A man can't very well earn coin when he's in shackles. I must admit, Kokomue has a fair point. Poverty is hardly a sufficient motive. But something tells me you've already considered this. Pray enlighten us, that we might finally reach the truth of this matter. Kokomui was promised a reward from Roland. That has to be it. As expected, the truth lay bare by Mr. Heimelin. Keen intellect. Excellent work, my friend. Excellent work. Your deductions were impeccable. Indeed, it was a senior Salbatender who stealthily slipped an alchemical concoction into Gonquar's drink, and indeed, it was Kokomui inside the costume. All for a reward from yours truly. Roland! I suppose you found the parchment then. From the rook to the king, or in other words, from R to K. Most clever, was it not? You have answered all the questions most skillfully. All except for a very simple one. Why? Mayhap you recall Alia's offer to preview our forthcoming attractions. Yes, now you understand. I hope you enjoy unraveling this mystery as much as we've enjoyed weaving it. And look there. It appears our friend Gonquart has risen from the dead. What? By the gods, I've had such a peaceful slumber in ages. Roland, you simply must teach me the recipe for that potion. Now, my dear Gonquart, the solution is much too strong for that. The phial contained only enough to ensure you would not awaken earlier than intended, and then perhaps a bit more. Forgive me, but it would have been an embarrassment had your eyes opened during the dramatic climax. This was a show?! A climax carried by Kokomui's masterful performance. Such passion. As promised, you can expect a generous recompense for your artful rendition. Okay, this quest is cute now. And so, Mistress Heimelin, I do hope you were entertained by the Gold Saucer's new attraction, Murder at the Mandeville Lounge. I admit there are some performances that could stand to be more believable, but I know with time we shall improve. As a whole, however, I believe our accolades are in order. A round of applause to all involved, and to Mistress Heimelin's ingenuity. Alright, that's cute. I beat the case! I had to do it a second time because I was missing stuff. But that was fun. I like that. At last, our work is done. Quite expertly, I might add. However, there is one last matter Master Roland wishes to discuss with you. Pray meet us in front of the El Colosso as soon as circumstances allow. I sincerely hope you did not take our deception personally, Mistress Heimelin. Nah, man, that was fun! Well, I mean, once I knew where all the shit was... it was all in good fun. I only hope the puzzle proved challenging enough to keep you entertained throughout. It was, because I was missing 2 pieces the first time. Oh ho ho, I fear we may have to concoct even more devious riddles. Who is talking? Oh, Godbert, hello. Tell the truth, lass. Were you confounded by the mystery subtly and nuances, or was solving a mere child's play to you? As someone who plays Ace Attorney, not bad. Very good, very good. Once inspiration struck, we labored day and night to create a web of deception and intrigue. And intrigue so thick not even my dear son will be able to untangle it. It would seem, however, that there is more work to be done, more flaws to be hammered out. Of course, Lord Mandeville. Mistress Heimelin, we are at your disposal should you wish us to reprise our roles. Who knows, you may even see a performance you missed this time around. Alia, I trust you will accommodate Mistress Heimelin's request. We must hone our craft until it becomes second nature. In the meantime, my attendant shall prepare a reward for your aid today. And with that, I shall take my leave. Farewell. That was fun! I shall take my leave as well. Pray enjoy the delights of the Gold Saucer to your heart's content. I hope the people who are watching this also enjoyed my rendition of doing this quest. Because I enjoyed it. We hope you are enjoying your time at the Gold Saucer, madam. I am Moliere, and these are my fellow attendants. Forgive my presumption, but you appear to be one of the crave amusements. One that craves amusements, and we have an opportunity that is sure to sate your appetite. Fair warning, I do not know my Eurasian. I will probably mispronounce lots of names. You see, we are devising a number of new attractions which promise to entice even more patrons to our establishment, and we would offer you the chance to partake in these delights before anyone else in Eorzea. We only ask in return that you provide an earnest judgment of our offerings, so we might use that to refine the final product. A fair trade, I believe. So do we have an agreement, madam? Sure. Splendid. Lord Mandeville shall... And who better to assist us than Mistress Heimelin? Lord Mandeville has no shortage of praise for your heroism, and your deftness at deduction. What say you, friend? Will you aid us in bringing in a criminal to justice? I'd like to see if I can get the real answer. Excellent! Alia, you have my leave to put your current duties on hold. I grant both of you the title of Interim Inspector, and you shall have my full support in your inquiry. We shall not disappoint. Now, Mistress Heimelin, let us step back and take stock of the situation. Assuming Gonquard was poisoned, I gather there are only 3 people who had the opportunity, if not the motive, to do so discreetly. Daphna, who served Gonquard his food. Lyle, who prepared his libations. And lastly, while I shudder to entertain such a possibility, I'll know of your contribution. Now, if you just follow... Oh dear. A scream! It came from above. Quickly, we must help. Mistress Flurry, what happened?
No, he can't be. Please, no. It happened in a flash, it did. They were enjoying their meal together, happy as ever, when without wording, Master Gonquard keels over as if a chocobo just bucked him in the belly. Now, I'm no Shurigan, but I don't reckon he'll be getting back up.
You don't mean... He's dead. Alia, what is the meaning of this? You know we do not abide drunkards dozing on the floor. I demand an explanation. Master Roland. Oh, why, yes, of course. We have only just arrived, but it appears Gonquard collapsed suddenly during his meal. Given his current state, I can't imagine overindulgence was the cause. No, such a sudden passing points to something more sinister. Master Roland, I believe this was no natural death. I believe Gonquard was poisoned. Poisoned? By the 12! Murder is in our midst! We must act swiftly. I want the perpetrator in shackles! We must also consider Gonquard's wife suspect, as I can only assume she was close to him throughout the meal. Considering the gravity of the crime, we must avoid making any hasty accusations before we have a clear understanding of what transpired here. To that end, our first course of action should be to question each of the suspects. Mistress Heimelin, I entrust the task to you. And for my part, I shall summon the brass blades forthwith. I trust the culprit will be unmasked and ready to be apprehended upon my return.
You can't think I'm a murderer. You can't. I just carried the food and drink is all. I didn't even touch it.
You suspect me of poisoning Master Gonquard?